Hey guys, where would you rank Adesanya? If you were part of the committee, where would you suggest that Adesanya be ranked? Now, there's a few things you're going to have to understand, okay? First thing you're going to have to understand is that's the most dominant middleweight that we've ever seen. Not only went through a division, was going through it a second time. And if you would like to insert the resume of Anderson Silva to that, go right ahead. Go right ahead. I get that Anderson went through it as well. He then loses to number 6 in a big upset. And the promotion and all of you, and even number 6, Sean Strickland, all wanted and even expected that they would do a rematch. And Adesanya would go right into that. So if that's true, if you believe that the guy is going to be a number 1 contender and all he had to do was say yes and sign a contract, then you would think he was number 1, right? You'd think he would be ranked number 1, only behind the champion. I would fully understand that. You just have to juxtapose that against the information you're given, which is by the guy himself, Adesanya, who says, I'm not fighting until 2027. Now, I don't believe that any of us think that that is accurate. I don't think it was meant to be accurate. I thought it was Izzy's way of telling the people that kept calling him and trying to get statement and comment, stop. Stop. Go call my teammates instead. My oars are out of the water for a little bit. But there's definitely a sincerity to his statement of stop for now, for sure. That's what turning down a rematch against Sean Strickland represents. It represented a sincerity by Izzy to a degree that I'm not doing this right now. And when I come back and tell you that I don't believe the 2027, because if he doesn't fight until 2027, I don't believe he would ever fight again. Izzy is very smart. I mean, he knows the history of fighting. He knows what happens to athletes as they get older. He's watched it happen. He is one of the ones that knows that while all the announcers will tell you, the audience, that it's physical, that the guy's body is slowed down, that it's not true and is never true. It's always his mind. He doesn't want to do it as bad as he used to want to do it. So I'm just suggesting for you, where would you rank him? Because I would listen to that. I mean, I remember when Khabib tried to give the belt back and they wouldn't accept it. You guys remember that? All you have to do to retire is say the word, I'm retired. And you really do have to understand, right? It's not like that Office episode where Michael Scott declares bankruptcy. I declare bankruptcy. And retired, that's all you have to do. You just have to say the word. Retired is a legal term. And it became a more relevant and sensitive term when USADA got involved. Because there was a clause about retire, which just means you say it. But equally as easy is when you come out of retirement to re-enter the pool. You just have to say it. That's literally it. And then they'll want documentation that you said it, so you can just put it in a text minute. I'm unretired. Boom, you're back in the pool. I'm sharing for you. When Khabib said I'm retired, they didn't accept. No. Keep him in the pool. Don't give that belt back. Well, we should probably get on with it. And there's 2 other guys here that could go and fight for it since it's vacant. Now, it's not vacant, it's Khabib's. And Khabib's like, no, it's not. It was just one of these funny things. And there was a massive resistance. And that even kept Khabib in the rankings. That even kept him in the pound-for-pound rankings. You guys remember that back and forth Jon Jones and Khabib were having about that spot? So when it finally was accepted, right, when enough time had gone by, which, by the way, was only like 2 months, but when enough time had gone by and it was accepted, it removed Khabib from everything. That did not mean it removed him from the hearts and the minds of you and those in the community to understand that he was the best if he was to insert himself, but it did take him out of the ranking. Took him out of the pound for pound, took him out of his divisional ranking, took the belt away from him, and officially became vacated. So if you have that in mind and you understand the protocol, because Izzy does, you're not going to hurt Izzy's feelings by taking him out. The whole reason he came and was so open with you guys is so somebody else could come along and get the spot. He was attempting to be generous and kind. But the rankings committee did not accept it. They kept him as number one. So, I'm not telling you what to do, by the way. I'm sincerely wondering what you would do. Because as much as you'd have to really think about that, if a guy's not going to fight until 2027, he is the one that told us that. Everybody else that's ever told us something, we accepted. So, what would you rank him? And it's not as easy as you might think. Like, let's say you didn't even subscribe to the idea that I'm suggesting that he loses ranking. Let's just say you didn't think he should be number one. You thought if he lost to Strickland, no, we should give a real good look over here at Paulo Costa and Khamzat Chimaev, just for example. All of a sudden you're ranking him, but you're moving him to 3 or 4. You then would be confronted. I mean, if we're saying that words matter, I read an article by Alex Pereira this morning. And he said, I would give Izzy the title fight. Said, I've offered it to him. It does not appear that he wants it. And therefore, I'm going to move on. It wasn't provocative. It wasn't aggressive. But if the champion at 205 pounds is willing to give you the opportunity, right? I mean, don't forget what number one contender is. Our media screws up the term number one contender all the time, and they put that to the number one ranked guy. The number one ranked guy is referred to as the number one ranked guy. The number one contender is whoever has the signed contract. Whoever has a bout agreement that is executed opposite the reigning champion is the number one contender. So I think it'd be very hard for you to rank Izzy anything lower than 1 if you kept him in the rankings, considering we know he was offered the title fight with Strickland, and we're also well aware that he could return and take that opportunity back. And we're armed with the fact that he could come back at 205 pounds and go opposite Pereira, considering Pereira just told us all that. So should we listen to Pereira and should we listen to what the organization says? Right, that'd keep him number one at 85 and number one at 205. Or do we listen to him and we remove him completely and revisit this in 2027? It's not quite as easy of a job. That whole rankings business, it's not quite as easy of a job as it might appear. But take a swing at it. Leave me a comment. I want to know what weight class and what would you rank Adesanya?